Look, I need you watching our backs. You're a better shot than I am.
Huh, really?
No?
Hello there, Sir from 17 once again. This is my Gears of War 4 Insane Difficulty video walkthrough. This is Act 1, Chapter 1, it's called The Raid. And right now you are in an interactive Uncharted moment that is introducing the wind flares. So a lot of you are probably watching this video because you want an idea of what Gears of War 4 offers. Should I buy it? Is it just boring old Gears? Is there anything new? Well, you're looking at a lot of the new right now. This is moments that are going to happen throughout the campaign, which are one of the more interesting parts of it. And that means a lot coming from me, because I hate mobility affecting gameplay that slows you down. If it speeds you up, I love it, but when it slows you down, I generally have an issue with it. But in this game, I find the dramatic weather to be probably the most endearing part of the new systems. So much so, I don't think they use it enough. Because as you notice, we just transitioned now back to a more traditional tutorial of a Gears, where we're introduced to our team, and we're moving now to get to this particular area to pick up something known as a fabricator. And it's going to give you some exposition of the characters, it's going to show you some mechanics where we can swap weapons with our team, and it's just going to slowly introduce you to this new world of Sera, because it's been 25 years since the Locusts were felled, and things are different. They didn't fix the satellites to enable us to use the Hammer of Dawn all the time and it worked really quickly, but, you know, I'm not an engineer, I don't control these things. I'm not on the board of infrastructure in Sera, which I really think they should focus on that rather than making robots, but that's just me. And you're going to notice that the world is drastically different. There is a void that has been set between the cog and between the outsiders, which there always was. If you go back to Gears 1, Act 2, there were people that did not fucking like you. Because if you didn't enlist, you were on your own. And it bred that contempt. And that contempt is alive today, even though it's interesting that there isn't any threats now, so I wonder what that's about, but it's just probably human nature. But there is contempt between these settlements and between the cog. So you are playing as these outsiders, and you are now sieging a cog installation to get some resources to live effectively. And there are new creations by the name of DBs, which I think is literally D and a B, but the IGN review put D as in DD from Dexter's Laboratory and B as in a bee, which I think looks fucking dumb on paper. And spoiler alert, guys, which I didn't realise because I'm stupid, these are the DBs, by the way. They are literally an acronym for the person who created them, which I thought was great because I just never saw it. And there's me waiting the entire game like, where the fuck is Cole? Where is Bird? Where is, you know, the people that I remember from Gears? I want to know where these people are. And you spend the entire first act fighting DBs without realising that it's the acronym for Damon Bird. Or I do anyway, because I'm stupid. But I've just ruined that for you, so hopefully the spoiler warning is good enough. But I thought that was wonderful. I thought that was a really nice touch. This is... I don't think that's a new mechanic, pulling people over the cover like that. But I can't remember, because I don't remember what Judgment added. I know you could mantle over cover and kick people, and it gave you a stun, and that's very much alive in this game. But the pulling over cover could be new. Once again, I don't remember, guys. I never played Gears of War Judgment's multiplayer, and that's where that mechanic would have come alive. If you tried that shit on Insane on Judgment, you would have died. It's just how it works. So I believe that it could potentially be new, but what I know will almost certainly be new is the knife. I don't remember executing people with knives, even though Marcus did have, you know... Some of the cogs had knives all over the place, didn't they? But they never touched them. They were just part of the badass action man design. But right now it's introducing you to the yank mechanic. So you press forward and X, and then when they're over the cover you press Y, and you can do that to them. Something you need to know, the yank is not context sensitive, so you can do it when nobody is there. If you slide into cover and hold X to pick up a weapon quickly, and if you're holding forward just without realising, you will do a yank on nobody, and you can get whiff punished. And I never thought I would ever be whiff punished in a Gears of War, but I did. I went to yank a Locust, he came off of cover, and then shot me with a shotgun as I was in the animation. It was beautiful. It was literally Street Fighter at that moment. But this is our first true engagement against the DBs after that initial introduction. And these are the trackers, which are essentially R2-D2 footballs, which have the AI of the tickers. So these are tickers, but they're more fair. And they're more fair because instead of just ambushing you and blowing you up and you're like, you motherfucker, that's dirty, they sit next to you a little bit and give you a little more warning than the tickers normally did. And the tickers gave you some warning, but not like these things. These things I find to be very fair. And you can kick them away like you can the tickers, and you can shoot them like you can the tickers. The one difference here is when these things blow up, they leave behind like a detritus field of debris. And inside of that, there is this electric static shock that's going around, which will affect the way your character moves, and it will not let you do anything. You will move as if you are... I'm trying to think of a similar effect. Like, you know when you get smoked in some of the multiplayers, and your character puts his hands to his face and waves them, and you can't shoot and shit and change guns? It's like that. It locks you out of animations, so you can't act. So you're stuck in that. And I hope there's nothing like that in the multiplayer, or that's going to be rage-inducing. But a mechanic in this game, as you just witnessed, is swapping weapons, as I pick up a new weapon here, which is either an Enforcer or a Peacekeeper. There's two guns that look the same, and I don't know what the difference is. I think one of them is electricity, and the other one is live rounds, because they make a distinction between the robots going from using stun rounds that burn to using live ammunition, so I think that's the difference. Also, right now, there is a shot grenade on the ground, and a frag grenade, and... some of the icons that come up on the screen are a little bit different. So you can pick up a frag grenade and it looks circular, and you can pick up a frag grenade and it looks like it's got those like weird embedded conker bits to them, so you can stick them in things. And it confused me because I didn't know if there was a difference between them, and I don't think there is. But it's one of those weird things. Like, you can pick up two lancers because one of your lancers is an inherited antique, and it really, really just blew my mind, because the idea of carrying two lancers in a Gears game might not be new. You might have been able to do it in the old ones, but I've forgotten, and every time I remember Gears, I go back to Gears 1, because that's where all my biggest memories are, and I don't remember you being able to get anywhere near to two lancers in that game. That was always a dream. But right there, if you rush forward, throw the shot grenade, you can do a 1-2 punch against the DBs and spawn kill all of them. It's my favourite aspect to this new design of the robots. If you're aggressive and you know what you're doing, you can hit them just like you hit the emergence holes in the original Gears. And I think that's why I like the beginning of this game so much, because it reminds me of Gears 1. The robots also remind me of a little bit of Vanquish and a little bit of Binary Domain. But I saw a lot of interesting opinions on the beginning of this game. The GameSpot review mentioned how they thought the pacing wasn't great. They thought the beginning was boring because you're just doing standard third-person shooting against uninteresting robots, and it doesn't feel much like Gears. I liked that. I liked the fact that at the beginning of this game, you're like, what am I playing? This ain't Gears, man. What is this? This don't feel like Gears. I found that to be really refreshing, and I think that's the strength of this game. It puts you in certain situations that doesn't feel like a Gears game. And I know there's going to be a lot of people that look at me gone off with that and think, what the hell are you talking about? The whole point of a Gears game is it's like Gears. But we've played it a lot, guys. We've done a lot of geary stuff, you know. How many times can you do the emergence hole, chainsaw kill, you know, active reload, chest high wall, shoot the dudes, hear the tone, you've won, move along kind of scenario? They need to mix things up, and I don't think they mix things up enough, in my opinion, which is something I'm going to elaborate on throughout the walkthrough. But I've seen the beginning of this game getting a lot of flack, and I don't really understand it. I think it's an interesting introduction to some new features. Firstly, this submachine gun is new, and it's a gun where, if you're up close, it murders people. It will melt them, because it fires incredibly fast, but you'll notice the reticle blooms really bigly. Bigly's not a word, but I kind of like how it sounded. To alleviate this, you want to feather the trigger by tapping the trigger, and that will enable you to control the bloom on that reticle. If you use it correctly, it can be a really effective tool, and I'll come back to it quite a lot, because when I first picked it up on my first playthrough, hated it, didn't like it at all. Grew to enjoy it once I got back into the rhythm of Gears, because there's things about the Gears franchise that I forget. I forget how much damage enemies take. I forget how much you have to shoot things, because I'm so used to one-shot headshots and, you know, 3-bullet kills and things. And then you come back to Gears, and Gears is a very different pace. And it's not a worse pace, just different. And different is good, especially when you've not been near it for a long time. I didn't realise how ready I was for Gears until I played this, and I was really enjoying a lot of it. As we come into the hospital area here, that reminds me of the beginning of Gears of War 2. But to do that move that you just saw me do there, you can go into cover and then press forward and A like you did in every other Gears game, or you can hold sprint, and as you get to the cover, if you press forward and B, you will dynamically jump over the cover, still sprinting, or if you're close to cover, you can press A to glide to slide towards the cover, press B as you're sliding, and you will dynamically jump over cover. Those are the two new additions to the way the movement works, I think, because I don't remember them in the last game, and I really, really like them. I think they're wonderful. It's one of those moments where when the game tells you how to do it, and you start doing it, you're like, how the hell did we not have this from the beginning? How did nobody think of this? That's how good it is. It's like what Horde is now. Can you remember when Horde was a new thing in Gears 2, and now it's in everything? Like, you get a fucking Angry Birds game and there's a Horde mode? But it wasn't an idea then. It was remember when you couldn't control cameras? What a great generation of gaming that was. And you go back to it, you're like, oh no, my eyes are bleeding. But that was a thing. Controlling camera was not a mechanic at that point. It's interesting to see how these features feel and fit so naturally, and then you're amazed that they weren't there to begin with and you wish they were. But this is a really big fight, and I've put on the long shot. So the long shot, anything really to report? Looks a little different, in the grand scheme of things, but it's still the long shot. It's a good gun. It's a good gun that takes skill to use, so I appreciate that. I'm not very good with the long shot because it's been a long time since I've used it, but the things you need to know about this weapon, an active on the long shot is incredibly damaging. It's really, really good. If you hit things in the head, they generally die. That was annoying, trying to get a weapon off of that dude, and it didn't quite work. But we get the hammer burst, which is always good. The long shot is a good gun for one reason in this game, especially in this campaign. If you use all the bullets in the long shot, which you should do, you should always be the one to use the bullets, because you can hopefully be more efficient with them. If you give it to your companion, they will reload it, even though it has no ammo in it, and they will use it indefinitely. So if you give them a sniper rifle, they will always have the capacity to use a sniper rifle. They might not use it effectively, but they have it. This does not work with anything that is explosive. Explosive weapons do not proliferate ammunition for the AI. They've gone against what you can do in Halo, and you might have even been able to do that in Judgment, but you can't give everybody boom shots and watch them turn into a death squad anymore. You have to at least earn this game a little bit more. That being said, they're still good with those weapons, so you can give them if you want to, and they will actively pick them up by themselves. But this encounter here, I like to stay back and spray them down and let the team take a lot of the fire, because you die very quick in this game. You die so fast in Gears, and now that the checkpoints are not kind, you're not going to see me doing anything too risk-taking. When I got this game, I was so excited to try wall-bouncing shotgun battles and doing ridiculous stuff, and then when I died and I went back 2 fights, I was like, yeah, I'm never doing that again. And it sucks as a guide maker, because I want to make these fights as exciting as possible, but the majority of the beginning ones, up until about Act 4, you're going to see a guy use a Lancer like it was, joined at his hip when he was born, because when I get into a comfort zone on Gears, it always goes back to the Lancer, because it's the tool that I feel the most comfortable with. I beat Insane on the original Gears using nothing but the Lancer. Lancer only run. It's my baby. It's a gun I'm very comfortable with. So you can imagine how offended I was when I did an entire 15-minute fight just before a boss on a certain level called like wind evacuation or some bullshit. You'll know it because you'll know the boss. It's a bitch. And at the end, a locust ran towards me. The final guy of the group, he charged from the other side of the map. There was 4 of us shooting this motherfucker. None of us put him down. He got in my face. I put my chainsaw on and he beat me. Tapped my hardest, like it was international track and field, and I still fucking lost, and I had to do the entire 15-20 minute fight again. And the second time I did the fight was so tentative and pissed off that it was twice as long. And that's the one that made it into the guide as well, which frustrates the hell out of me, but it has to because it's honest, and it's how it worked. This sequence here that you just witnessed, a lot of dudes at distance, so just stay in the cover and be aware that the robots like to rush, but they rush you very slowly. And Gears is good in as much as whenever the objective gets crossed off and you hear the Gears tone, there will never be another enemy alive. It guarantees that you have cleared the enemies. What it doesn't guarantee is that you've got a checkpoint, so don't fuck about, don't accidentally throw a grenade against the door like I do sometimes. Or you'll have to do the fight again. because that's the problem with Gears 4, in my opinion. They've gone in there intentionally, because it is intentional, because there's instances of very good checkpoints in this game, and they've removed checkpoints. And all it does is add tedium, frustration to a game that is really fun in a lot of places, made worse by interesting enemy choices and terrible checkpoint design.